Hello friends, it's Melody here with Design by Melody. I am back with the 6th layout using my Cocoa Daisy June kits, and I think this might be one of my favorite ones so far. So I'm using this background paper, which is the lime cardstock that came in the kit, but I'm going to add a bunch of different things from my stash. Now, I'll tell you exactly everything I use, but I have this photo. It's of Kaylin at his birthday. We had went for a birthday lunch at the mall and ate at California Pizza Kitchen. But when we were at the mall, because his birthday is at the very beginning of December, they have the giant Christmas tree, and my child loves that thing. And I always like it too. So we took a picture in front of it, and Kaylin is wearing his jacket that he got for his birthday that has a Superman logo on the front, and it has a Superman cape off the back of it. So this is just a picture of he and I. I'm not really totally in frame, but I still like this picture. So the title of this layout is just going to be SuperBoy. So I'm pulling out a couple different things that were in my new product bin that I use. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and check out my craft room tour that I posted a couple weeks ago, because I talk about this. So I pulled out a few different things that were in that bin, and I'm just kind of sorting through them and pulling out the different things that I possibly could use. I thought about using reds and pinks and grays and teals, and also maybe some aquas, but they're different shades. So I kind of have to make a decision before I start going too far. And then I did pull out two 6x6 pads. So this one that I'm flipping through, which is the one I really love, is from Bazzill Basics. Yeah, that's right. Bazzill Basics paper. It's a 6x6 pad that's not bound together, so the sheets are all loose, and it's just called The Adventures of. So I pulled out a whole bunch of sheets from there. And then this other one that I'm flipping through is actually a basic gray 6x6 pad from their Juniper Berry collection. So I'm going to use a couple different 6x6 sheets here behind my photo. First, I'm going to mat it on this one, and this is from that Juniper Berry collection. It's just a pink and red background patterned paper. So I'm going to mat my photo directly on here, and then I'm going to layer a few pieces from that The Adventures of paper. The very back one is going to have these arrows that come down the left side and from the right side and meet at the bottom left corner of the paper, and it just has at the intersection of those arrows, it says the adventure starts here, and it's just kind of a grayish white striped paper on the back, and that's this one right there. Not on the back, but on the background. So I'm going to end up covering up the stars mostly, but I just wanted those arrows, and I like the fact that it came together and it said the adventure starts here. And I've got the papers kind of set a little bit at skewed, I guess you could say. And then I've got the one that's on top of it with all those words, just has different things on it like brave, young at heart, adventure bound, courage, fearless, free spirit, here comes trouble, almighty, imagination is the key, who me? There's a whole bunch of different things on there, and they start to repeat as well. And then I have this teal grid paper that's also right behind my photo. So I've got 4 different 6x6 sheets layered up here, and I cut the pieces that you wouldn't see so I can keep them in my stash and just continue to use those. So now this is kind of the basic part of my layout, and then I'm going to embellish everything else. So I am going to use the bottom right pack, the ones that I have at the very bottom of my layout. That is actually an Imaginis collection, these right here, and I think it's their adventure collection or travel collection. I don't end up using anything from that collection. I just felt like the colors were too far off from the other embellishment packs that I pulled out, so I decided not to use those. I start cutting an arrow just to layer with that. That way if I decided to use it, I could. And then that's where I kind of start to change my mind. So I have this little journaling card to the top, and it reminds me of like a pocket on some jeans, I think because of the stitching. But anyways, so I like to think of it as like a pocket journaling. I don't know. That probably makes no sense to anybody else, but it made perfect sense to me when I was thinking it. So that's going to actually house my journaling up there at the top. And I'm just going to kind of put it up here at the top. Now it's going to be a little bit skewed as well to kind of go with the rest of the page. I didn't want anything real lined up because of the fact that all of my papers behind my photos are a bit offset. So I'm using these basic gray alphas to put my title, and my title is just SuperBoy. And then I'm going to put a couple little dots below that. And this tag that I'm using, or this little banner that I'm using to put my title on, is from Jelly Bean Soup Pea Pod Parts, a little die cut pack that you see to the top right. Yes. I think that's Jelly Bean Soup. Hang on. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's from Jelly Bean Soup. If it's not from Jelly Bean Soup, then it's from my Ellie Studio, that other die cut pack that you see to the top left of the screen. That is actually Ellie Studio Bits and Pieces Joyful. So it could be from there. Actually, I don't know which it's from now. Either way, it's from one of those. Either the Jelly Bean Soup. Actually, I think it's from the Ellie Studio Joyful collection, because it has that real pretty teal. So that's from there. And then I had a few little pieces, which is that medallion down here under the SuperBoy title and the little star that's off the side of my photo. Those are some iridescent vellum pieces, and they came in that Ellie Studio pack, and I'm just going to go ahead and use them on here. I like the star, how it kind of peeks out, and it's very much an iridescent look if you move your page around. Otherwise it just kind of looks silvery. So I'm going to put the medallion at the bottom. I'll cut off the piece that's off the edge, and then I'll layer it behind my journaling card. This is where I decided just to go ahead and move those. I'm not going to use them. I do have these Studio 112 stickers, and these are from Joann's. I think they're like $1 at Joann's, and they're just word stickers. And I'm using a couple of the, actually just one of the lime green ones, and then I'll go back later and use a few of the other green ones as well. I've got a little tab that I layered behind my photo, and it just says treasured, and that is from those two collections, the Ellie Studio and the Jelly Bean Soup collection. I'm going to kind of pull a little bit from both of those. I have this one little banner, I guess, pennant, label, whatever. It says happiness, and I'm just going to put that under the SuperBoy thing at the bottom. A lot of the Jelly Bean Soup collection had some really pretty hearts, and actually the Ellie Studio collection had that larger red heart, so I'm going to just use a couple of these hearts around the page. I'm using this tiny little pink label, and it says Heartbreaker, and then I'm also going to oh, sorry, my camera cut off, and all I've started to do is actually adhere things to my background. Every time, I can't figure out how to change this, but every time my phone rings when I'm recording on my iPad, it stops my iPad, which drives me crazy, but it is what it is. I'm sure there's a way to fix it, but as long as I remember, then it's no big deal. I just have to stop doing what I'm doing when I'm on the phone. That way it doesn't miss anything. I'm going to go ahead and add my journaling. I do have this little label at the top that says love this, and it's got a little heart on it. I think that's so cute. And it mimics the shape of the journaling card as well. It just says, our little boy is a superhero, or at least he thinks he is. He can do all things. He says he's going to change the world, and he will definitely be able to if he wants to. I have a friend who he was staying with when not staying with, but he was spending some afternoons some mornings at her house when I was at work once he stopped preschool, but his camp hadn't started yet. And she read him a Muhammad Ali book, and part of the intro to the book was about him changing the world, or him saying he was going to change the world. And so Kaylin now is just convinced. He just keeps telling us, I'm going to change the world like that guy did. So I wanted to make sure that I have that documented somewhere in my album, because I think that is incredibly cute, but also somewhat inspiring for a 5-year-old to tell you that he's going to change the world. Like, that's amazing to me. So, I mean, I know it's my child, so of course I'm going to say it's amazing to me, but I want to document that type of thing in my albums, and so that's what I'm doing. I had this little banner that said "Enjoys these moments." But it had a white background to it, but it didn't match the white background, like the white on the cards and the paper that I had on here. So I'm just cutting out that white, and I'm just going to put the banner right on the background paper. I don't like it when my white colors don't match. Like if they're different tones or one's more cream than white, I just don't like it. So I eliminate that if I possibly can. I also added a little teal label right there under the photo that says adorable. So the silver one that you can't really see, like the iridescent white one, says love this time of the year. And then I have the one that says enjoy these moments. And then it says adorable right under his photo. And then I decided to go ahead and add, of course, my own homemade enamel dots. I love these. I mean, if you can invest the time to melt these and have them, and to be honest with you, I didn't really have a smell. I was more concerned about the fact that I had the oven on for hours because I kept doing batches and batches of these. But if you have the time to invest in the patience to sit there and stand each of these little beads up on a pan, if you have the time to invest, totally do it, because I have used these for months and I'm nowhere near even halfway done with the ones of all that I made. So it was definitely worth the time, and talk about a cost saver. I don't have to continuously buy a ton of enamel dot packages, and I'm one that loves the white, the teal, the pink, the black, and the gray. So those are the colors I always use. So as long as I have those, I don't have to have a billion different possibilities. I just have to have my basics that I always use. So I'll go ahead and add another label at the top, and then I'm putting another little word right on that label, and it says "so sweet." And we're nearing the end here. I'm just going to add a few little stickers, a few finishing touches, just to kind of finish it off. But I really like this layout. I started with the kit and used a few things with the kit, but I also added a few embellishment packs from my new products basket that I like to keep on my shelf. I'm trying to make sure that I use things out of there, and I have to use it at least once or twice, or use up half the package before I'll put it in my stash. Now, I just put up my what do you call them, Martha Stewart doilies. I used them about 4 or 5 times, and I'm nowhere near using half of them. But now that I've used them a few times, I don't mind putting them in my stash because I know I at least used them. And that's kind of what I was doing with some of these packages. All right, so that finishes off this layout. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Bye.